amazing players with strong rhythmical and melodic lines? Are you playing really melodic solos? And are you using amazing rhythm in your solos? What we often miss in our solos when we are playing jazz is the melodies and the rhythm. So why don't we just play like the pros? Amazing rhythm and amazing melodies. So one of the first questions I ask to myself when I'm playing jazz standards: are my solos connected to the melody of the tune? Because there are some really simple tricks to use when you want more melodic solos. And this is becoming really good at playing into the melody of a tune. Align the melody with the chords of the tune and get a stronger foundation, adding the melody into your solo playing. And let's also figure out how to extend your rhythms into your solos. Let's get going on playing melodies of the tunes, connect this into your solos, and eventually play amazing rhythm and amazing melodic solos. I picked the well-known jazz standards Bye Bye Blackbird for us to practice on. When we play this melody, you'll probably see that it's a bit boring. Because it's only quarter notes as is written down here. But in a few steps you can really make this melody happen.
Pack up all my cares and woe, here I go swinging low.
And I can easily say add a bit of rhythm to the melody. Just listen to how Sammy Davis Jr. plays this out. When you compare the original melody and the melody of Sammy Davis Jr., you see there's a crazy difference. One thing, never touch the first beat of the bar. Well, it's a little bit harsh to say, but try it. Sammy Davis Jr. does not play the first beat in any of the bars. This makes the song light and almost floating over the beat. Pack up all my care and woe, here I go, singing low, bye bye blackbird. When you learn the lyrics to songs, you get a much stronger foundation to base your solo on.
Triangle. Good.
Because since we are babies, we are trying to form our words, so we know our voice and the words much better than our instrument. Now practice different versions of the melody not hitting the first beat. And for every version you make, try to notice the difference you make. And also, really important, when you play the melody, remember to have the lyrics in the back of your head. Now turn this into a solo, so solo like you're playing the melody. But how are we going to do this? In the beginning, when you're playing a solo like you're playing the melody, do not stray away from the melody. Just stay close to the melody. First step is adding more rhythm into the melody than there are actually words. Rhythm is also leaving stuff out. Here I leave stuff out, but I also add extra note next to the melody, so closely next to the melody. And for now, when you are adding extra tones to the melody, don't go far away from the melody and stay in the key of the melody. In this version of Bye Bye Blackbird, I'm playing in the key of G. So train the key of G. So what I've done here is looking at the tones in the melody, and then I've added one tone above and one tone below the melody tones, adding these into my solo. And the solo would kind of sound like this. You can make any rhythm, of course. And what you probably see and hear is that rhythm is the most important thing. An exercise to get you much freer in the rhythm is filling every bar with 8 notes, but playing the melody notes only. The next step would be removing some of the 8 notes. You see that I'm moving away from the 1 in each bar. In this way you get so much grip of the rhythm, and it's very easy to actually challenge yourself in rhythm. The clear advantage of doing this is that you can actually see what you're changing every time you're making a new rhythm. You can see visually what you're removing. When Chris Potter is playing his version of It Could Happen to You, he used lots of fills. And what we want to do with the melody is playing the melody, alter the melody, and eventually end up with a solo that sounds like filling up the melody. Now I start playing the melody but adding the closest chord notes into the tune. And these are the chord tones I would use. I have added these around the melody tones, or around that G in the middle of the system. And and slowly you actually move away from the melody when you're only using chord notes to playing your melodic solo. This gets really exciting when you start repeating this process. Still, when I'm using the chord tones, I'm staying close to the melody, thinking of the melody, still having the text in my head. Shortly, I just want to mention that I've made lots of chord tone etudes on Bye Bye Blackbird in the lesson manual on Patreon. I recommend you to check this out if you want to have an easy step into playing chord tones on the tunes you are playing. The link to Patreon is in the description. When you're practicing, I would really advise you to just play with the metronome. The metronome enhances your rhythmic feeling because you want the music to happen when you're playing with the metronome. So why shouldn't I play with a backing track? Well, a backing track makes everything sound good. It basically doesn't matter what tone you're playing and it still sounds good. Your timing just goes on and you could play anything. Here comes the stepping stone from playing melody-like solos into playing chord tone solos only. This doesn't mean that the solos are not melodic. They just do not follow the melody as much as earlier. In this solo example, you hear that I'm strictly following the chord tones only. But you want to expand the sound, and you can easily expand the sound up to the 9th chords. And when you do this, you actually get more melodic lines, almost scale lines. Because in every chord, a small part of the scale is hidden between the 7th of the chord and the 3rd of the chord. If you go up 7th, root, 9, 3rd. You have a little bit of scale, 4-note scales. And this little melodic chord tone scale is so beautiful on all the chords there is. When you listen to Joe Henderson here on Stellar by Starlight, you hear that his solo is only rhythm and melody. It does not sound like he's thinking any chords at all. What I want to say with this is when you're focusing on only melody and rhythm, you're moving so much less information around. And this means you're able to focus only on melody and rhythm. And this way you will play much more beautiful solos. When you start playing with the 9th chord and you move a little bit up the chord, you get a complete other melody, a melody of its own, you can say. What I do is I move away from the root of the chords or from the basic melody and move up the upper structures of all the chords. The upper structures make you play higher up in the chord, of course, and this gives you an almost outside sounding solo because you're moving so far away from the basics of the melody, but it also sounds good. When you're using these upper structures, try focusing only on the upper structure, stay up there and make this sound beautiful. Use great rhythm and use the melodies found in this section of the chords. I want to recommend you to download the lesson manual on Patreon with full form chord tones jazz etudes on Bye Bye Blackbird in all 12 keys. This gives you the quickest step into playing chord tone solos. Download link is in the description. Joe Henderson and Chris Potter are all about rhythm, so this video is also one of my favorite ones. How their rhythm chops goes far way beyond what we can imagine. Really worth checking out. Play music, have fun.